This is Montreal Now with Aaron Rand and Natasha Hall. CJAD 800.
That is James MENNIE, the Montreal Gazette. And Jim, before we get going, I'm seeing all kinds of texts. I was asking people about the price of gas around the city because it's going kind of nuts. Henry is a truck driver, $1.57 on the Quebec side by Hawkesbury. Someone else said $1.59 in Magog. And then I got people at $1.61 in Vaudreuil, $1.62 in the Plateau. And someone else, I can't believe this is right, just passed by the Petro-Can on Saint Jacques next to the McDonald's, gas at $1.849.
I got to tell you, you inspired me before I came on. I've been checking out some of the gas price monitoring sites, and normally it used to be that it was Montrealers who basically got mugged on gas prices. You get some kind of a shelter off the island. I'm seeing average prices ranging from about $1.80, and this is like in the 450. We're seeing Saint-Joly, Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu. But we're also seeing, and this is gets me here, apparently there's one, and goodness me, it's the Costco in Terrebonne. And I remember, this is just information they get from people feeding it in.
Right.
199.9.
Oh!
But here's the thing. This is all, and listen, folks, this is hardly scientific. The best thing to do is shop around. But I remember, Aaron, I don't think I was talking to you then because we're approaching the 2-year anniversary of the official recognition of the pandemic here in Quebec.
Right.
And I remember that week because all things were happening. I had been in hospital. The pandemic broke out. Everything was shut down. And in an amazing coincidence, Saudi Arabia and Russia decided to get in an oil price fight. I don't know if you recall that happening.
I don't.
Anyway, that week, someone had pointed out it would have been cheaper. You'd have made more money taking the barrel of oil, emptying it, and filling it with water. You'd make more money selling the water in the barrel. Okay.
Wow.
And right now, and I remember someone saying, "Will we ever see oil at $70 a barrel?" Oil right now, the average price is about $111 a barrel, and it's going up.
I think at one point it tapped 120 and it fell back. Yeah, it's not going down before it goes up. I think that's for sure. So.
Well, there's stuff going on the far side of the world right now that may have an effect on that. So amazing.
I should point out as well, for people just tuning in, there was a second round of talks today between Ukraine and Russia, and it seems that they're going to open up what they're calling peace corridors. So at least people who do need to leave, or if medical aid needs to get in, can get in, and in those areas there will be a ceasefire while this is on. So we take that, I guess, with a grain of salt, but still, any news is good news from there.
Absolutely, and I think we're also seeing, that's been announced, and we're also hearing that tomorrow the Russian parliament is supposed to convene to declare a martial law, which both these developments suggest to me that as tough as he's talking, he certainly talked tough with Emmanuel Macron, the president of France today. I get the impression that perhaps his grip really is slipping, and perhaps not necessarily cooler heads, but maybe more survival-oriented heads are winning out here.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Exactly. Let's hope.
All right, listen, I want you to take a listen to what happened last night. Jean Charest shows up at Chateau Laurier. He's meeting with a bunch of caucus members of the Conservative Party. He walks out like, the crowning hero, if you will. Yep. And take a listen to this when he was asked, so what happened and what are you going to do? Brian?
One thing that I believe to be very important is to have a national Conservative Party that is able to represent every part of Canada. And it's our historical, that's really our responsibility to be that national political party.
All right, calm down, everybody. Hang on, okay. So they're scrumming him like, he's like already leader of the Conservative Party. Based on what you heard last night, Jim, what do you think? Is this a done deal? Is his mind made up?
He's cut right to the chase. I think it is extremely likely that he's going to jump. He's meeting with a few more MPs today. I guess they couldn't make last night's meeting, or they want to have a one-on-one. But that's it. This is going to be his mission, should he decide to accept it, is that the Conservative Party, at least this iteration of the Conservative Party, is a regional rump. I've said it repeatedly on this show, and it is necessary if it wants to survive, to not reinvent itself, but resume its original identity as a national party, not a party of the West, not a party of grievance, not a perpetual opposition party, but a party that is ready to lead the entire country into the future. Now, Jean Charest have the skill set to do that? I think he does. But I have to tell you something else, Aaron. I was listening to the show after I came on yesterday, and you had asked people, well, Jean Charest, you're gonna, would you vote for this guy? Would he change your mind? And I found it intriguing that a lot of people who called in who says, well, he's not going to change my mind, but if they were going to vote Liberal, that they would be voting for Chrystia Freeland. She would be their choice, not Justin Trudeau. Mm-hmm. And mark my words, if he pulls this off, and it's entirely possible he can because they've been given lots of time. First of all, the contest won't be settled until September. He's going to have time to sign up lots and lots of members who presumably live far east of Winnipeg. If he pulls this off, if he gets the leadership, don't be surprised if there is a change of leadership in the Liberal Party as well. I mean, a lot of people have said, well, Trudeau looks tired, he's phoning it in, whatever. I think by accident or design, events have placed Chrystia Freeland front and center, and if people were fans before just of the job that she had done as the person who basically tackled the free trade agreement with Trump's administration.
Wait, Jim, are you suggesting that if and when Jean Charest becomes head of the Conservatives, that spurs the Liberals to make the change right at that point?
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. Because honestly, we have basically covered the careers of both these men, and I would respectfully submit that if Jean Charest is head of the Conservative Party, he will make mincemeat of Justin Trudeau. Okay? Because he's not a sledgehammer. He can be an extremely skilled with political stiletto. And lest we forget, and I told you this story a couple of years back, but lest we forget, Jean Charest, while Premier of Quebec, I think it was in 2009, he was in the middle of an election campaign, he announced during a luncheon at for the Montreal Board of Trade that he was taking the X number of $100 million of transfer payments that he was getting from then Prime Minister Stephen Harper and giving it to the people of Quebec as a tax cut. So the message to Stephen Harper was, thanks for the cash, thanks for helping me get reelected. And so right off the bat, we can say there's some history between these men. So you will see something of an apprehended civil war within the Conservative Party if Charest throws down. But all that said, that's the big battle he's going to face. And I think a lot of Liberals out there know that if Jean Charest ends up as leader of some iteration of a truly national Conservative Party, I think Justin Trudeau's days, which I suspect are already numbered, those numbers have become a lot shorter.
So I want to ask the question because you paint a rather interesting scenario here. Let's say that happens. Jean Charest takes on the leadership. When you say that he would make mincemeat of Justin Trudeau, I think back to when we thought Tom Mulcair, the politician who'd been there with experience, would do the same, and it ended up not working out that way, remember?
Well, remember, if you're talking about 2015, Tom Mulcair found himself, and he's mentioned this on air repeatedly, what really tangled him up was the whole idea of wearing a kneecap, the idea that this whole secularism that we were seeing the genesis of that.
Yeah, and but I'm thinking back, James. I'm thinking back to that. Give me a number, Mr. Trudeau. Give me a number.
Oh,
thought you had
absolutely.
The guy on the ropes, but he managed to get out, and a lot of people think that might have been a turning point.
Well, it might have been a turning point, but don't forget, I remember the dynamic of that campaign very, very well. And I think that Justin Trudeau caught a lot of lucky breaks, if only because he was running against an exhausted Stephen Harper. He didn't have, and I say this all due respect to Mr. Mulcair, he didn't quite have the sort of the mantle of professional politician around him as his opponents did, which in fact he was, but he just managed to hide it better. And remember, the Liberals began in third place in 2015, and they wound up winning a majority. And I think what you saw there was a real repudiation of Stephen Harper. I've said before, Justin Trudeau did not win that election. Stephen Harper lost it. I think we'll see that if we see a contest between Jean Charest and Justin Trudeau. Charest, he'll use all of his skill set, but honestly, I think this is a match. He's more than a match for Justin Trudeau. Chrystia Freeland, on the other hand, not so sure. Okay. Good connection with the public, literally a fresh face, a woman, and someone who can turn around and say, listen, I'm not a parvenu. I've done my time in the Liberal Party, and I too can make it a national party. That would be a far more, as far as I'm concerned, it'd be a far more even political contest. Was Charest to face off against Freeland? in a coming election. And I think, frankly, with all due respect to the world, I think I have a lot of company in that perception.
Jim, I got 30 seconds. I want to really quickly touch on the decision. We announced this by the Quebec government yesterday on easing restrictions for masks. And then, of course, we went from that huge move from March 14th to March 12th.
Yeah.
What's going on here exactly? Because this is my question when we come back.
Okay, it's the equivalent. I don't want to be flip. It's the equivalent of your mother telling you for 2 years, don't you dare cross the street. You wake up one morning, you think nothing's changed. Your mom goes, yeah, go. Cross the street. Okay. No worries.
Perfect.
I wish I could be cleverer.
No, that's good.
Exactly what's happening.
That's good. All right, I'm going to ask our listeners that question in a sec. Jim, thank you.
Adam.